Let me tell you something. There are certain things in life you never forget, and yet you can never truly understand them. Today, I'm going to share that very story with you. I remember that day. It seemed completely ordinary until a small message came into my hands, and that one message changed my entire life. It contained just a single line, but that line was so dangerous, I was left utterly shocked. Maybe you're thinking this is about love or an affair. No, this is a story of betrayal, secrets, and mysteries that even I couldn't fully comprehend. My name is Lee May, and that day when I first saw him, Michael, I had no idea how drastically his arrival would turn my world upside down. He'd come from America while my life was going on as usual in China, and yet that first meeting changed the way I thought about everything. You might be wondering, what happened? But the truth is, even I didn't know where this incident was going to lead me. The only thing I can tell you is that it was just the beginning. From that day on, even the smallest things in my life started to feel unusual. Every smile of Michael's, every glance, every silence left behind a question. And in chasing the answer to those questions, I found myself walking down a path from which returning was not so easy. And now, as I sit here telling you this, you're probably wondering what exactly I'm going to reveal. But the truth is, what's about to happen is beyond what you could ever imagine. Because sometimes, the arrival of one person, sometimes a single message, can change your entire world. And that's exactly what happened to mine. If you're thinking that first meeting was just a simple, ordinary event, you're wrong. From that day on, things in my life began to slowly change. I kept working just like always, but Michael, his presence changed the meaning of everything. In the office corridors, the meeting rooms, even inside the elevator. I couldn't stop being aware of him. I knew I was feeling this way, but I couldn't understand why. Then one day, in the office cafeteria, I saw something. Michael was working on a document on his laptop, but his screen was slightly tilted towards me, and I noticed it wasn't just some normal office work. It contained codes and numbers, codes I had never seen before. I knew that if I asked, he might get angry, but my curiosity was unstoppable. I quietly asked, "Michael, what is this?" He looked at me. The same calmness in his eyes, the same distance. He said, "Something personal. You wouldn't understand." And that was it. That single line. In that moment, for the first time, I felt that there was a bigger secret hiding behind Michael. That evening, on my way home, I kept replaying the same question in my head. Who is Michael? And what is he hiding? I began to wonder if this was just related to work or something else, something I didn't even have the courage to comprehend. And just then, my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. It read, "What you're seeing isn't the truth. Be careful." I froze. Who sent this? And why were they warning me? That night, I couldn't sleep. I analyzed everything, every word, every expression of Michael's, and that's when I realized, maybe for the first time, that I was no longer safe. The next day, the office looked normal. People working, typing on laptops, answering calls, but I knew something was wrong. It was as if Michael had noticed something too. His eyes kept glancing at me, and then, during a meeting, he suddenly called me. "Lee May, can you come with me to the conference room?" I nodded, my heart racing. Inside the conference room, he opened his laptop and showed me a folder. That folder revealed a secret connection between certain projects in China and America, codes, emails, and some files that were clearly confidential. "I want you to understand this," he said. "But why?" I asked. He said nothing. He just looked straight into my eyes. And then, the moment passed without another word. I went back to my desk, but that folder kept replaying in my mind. And it was in that moment that I first realized Michael wasn't just a colleague. Maybe he was something else. The following week, Michael suddenly changed his routine. Instead of coming in at the usual time, sometimes he arrived late, and one day I saw him talking on the phone with someone. His voice was calm, but his words carried tension. He said, "Yes, everything is ready. She hasn't noticed anything yet." I froze. Those words, was he talking about me noticing something, or was it about someone else? From that day on, my curiosity grew even more. I began paying attention to his every little move, his emails, his calls, his behavior. They all became clues for me. I thought to myself, if I don't find out the truth, no one else will. So I decided to slowly start observing Michael's work and his files. At night, when everyone had left, I stayed behind at the office to study that folder. Every code, every email, it was like I was solving a puzzle. And then, I found something. Something that made it clear Michael wasn't just some American businessman. He was on a secret mission. I was scared. But along with fear, my curiosity grew even stronger. And just then, a new email appeared on my computer screen from an unknown sender. "If you want to know who Michael really is, come to the back gate of the office tonight at 8 p.m. Don't tell anyone." I froze. I knew that this email was going to change everything between Michael and me, forever. I looked at my watch, 7:55 p.m., and in my mind, only one question kept circling. Should I go? Or was this all just my imagination? But something inside whispered, if you really want the truth, there's no turning back now. That night, when I read the email, my heart was pounding. 8 p.m. At the back gate of the office. I stood there, holding my breath, watching every shadow. Then I saw it, a silhouette near the gate. At first I thought it was just another employee, but as the figure stepped closer, I realized it was Michael. His eyes still carried that same calmness, that same distance, but this time, there was something else too, something I had never seen before. "Lee May," he said softly. I nodded. Words refused to come out of my mouth. "You saw the email?" he asked. I nodded again. "Then you want to know the truth." In that moment, I was terrified of myself. The truth. Could it really be something that frightening? Michael led me to a small building behind the office. It wasn't a normal part of the workplace. Inside were locked cabinets and stacks of files. "What is all this?" I whispered. "The truth," he said. "You know, sometimes work isn't just work. Some projects are meant for only a select few." I felt his words weren't just an explanation. They were a warning. Michael handed me a file. Slowly, I opened it. Inside were documents, emails, codes, secret project plans. But these weren't just business records. They contained confidential data about certain interactions between China and America. I wondered, was this really just work or something else? Michael saw my eyes widen. He said, "If this ever gets out, it will cause a massive problem. That's why only a few people know about it. And now, you're one of them." My heart started racing. I didn't know if I should be afraid or excited. Suddenly, there was a sound. A shadow moved. Michael immediately looked at me. "You need to stay safe," he said. "Why? What's the danger?" I asked. "If anyone finds out you've seen this, then—" He left the sentence unfinished. His words set off alarms in my mind. I realized I was no longer just an observer. I had become part of the mystery. I thought about whether I should tell someone this secret, but the seriousness in Michael's eyes told me trusting anyone could be dangerous. I decided to keep everything to myself, but my curiosity kept growing stronger. I told myself, "Lee May, you now have two paths. Either step back or dive completely into this secret. I chose the second option. Michael said we would have to prepare for the next step, some meetings, some confidential calls, and slowly, I was becoming part of it all. But with every observation, a new question arose. Who exactly is Michael, and what is his true purpose? That night when I got home, I sat down and analyzed every file, every code, every email. It was like I was solving a puzzle. And then I saw a code that clearly revealed Michael wasn't just an office employee. He had a personal mission tied to a much bigger secret. I froze. The next day, everything in the office looked normal, but in my head, the same questions kept spinning. Then during lunch break, I noticed someone was watching me. I turned around, but saw no one. And then my phone vibrated. Another message from an unknown number. You're getting too close. Be careful. The next step. Tonight at 9 p.m., same place. I knew then turning back wasn't an option anymore. This journey had gone beyond curiosity. It had become a matter of survival. 9 p.m. My heart was racing. I stood there again, at the same small gate, the same building. The air was filled with an eerie silence. Everything looked ordinary, but I knew nothing about this was ordinary. I turned on my phone's flashlight and stepped inside slowly. My legs were trembling on their own with every step. My eyes scanned every shadow. And then I saw him. Michael was standing there. In his hands was the same confidential folder he had shown me the night before. But now, the seriousness on his face was beyond anything I could understand. "Lee May," he said, "you're on time." I nodded. My words were lost somewhere inside me. "Today I'll show you everything you need to know," he continued. He opened his laptop and switched on a projector. A map appeared on the screen with several highlighted points. What is this?" I asked softly. "These are the locations of secret projects," he said. "But not just for business. If the world ever learns about this, it could cause unimaginable chaos." Alarms rang in my mind. My fear and curiosity grew stronger together. Michael continued, "And now I'm giving you a choice. Either you ignore this and stay safe, or you dive into the depths of this secret and accept the consequences." I told myself, I choose the second one. I want to know. Michael pointed to a name on the screen, and my breath caught. "Why is this name important?" I asked. "Because this is the secret the world must never know," he said. "And now you've become a part of it." I realized then my life would never be the same again. I was no longer just an observer. I had become a participant. And then I noticed a shadow move. Michael instantly whispered, "Hide, someone's coming." I quickly pressed myself into the corner of the room. A silhouette entered through the door. It was hard to identify the man, but his footsteps, his voice, his presence, everything heightened the suspense. Michael whispered again, "If this man finds out you're here, the danger will be enormous." My mind spun with only one thought. I'm no longer just witnessing a mystery. I'm in danger myself. My heart raced, yet alongside fear, a strange excitement surged through me. I told myself, "Lee May, there's no backing out now. You will see this through, no matter what." I carefully peeked at the shadow. The man picked up some documents, checked a few files, and then left. Michael exhaled in relief. "We're safe for now, but time is short. We must move forward," he said. I nodded. I now knew this journey was no longer just about curiosity. It was about survival. Michael handed me a new file. "This is for the next step," he said. I opened it, and my eyes widened. Inside were codes, maps, and some names names I could barely recognize. But one thing was clear. Whatever was about to happen was beyond my understanding. And just then my phone vibrated, a message from an unknown number. "You're getting very close. The next step. Tomorrow morning, same place. Be careful." I froze. This time it wasn't only curiosity. Fear had joined in. I told myself, "Li Mei, there's no turning back. If you want the truth, this path will lead you deeper into danger." And that was the moment I realized this was no longer just a mystery. It had become the greatest challenge of my life. The next morning, my sleep had been restless, incomplete. When my eyes opened, I still felt the same thing, fear and curiosity colliding inside me. I knew what happened last night was only the beginning, and today was going to be the most important day of my life. I got ready quickly and walked the same path, the small gate behind the office. With every step, my heartbeat grew louder. The air was cold, but inside me burned a strange heat, a mix of excitement and danger. As soon as I reached the place, I saw Michael already waiting. His eyes carried the same calmness, but this time also a sharp seriousness, an urgency. "Li Mei," he said softly, "you're on time." I nodded. Words still refused to come. Michael led me into a small room. Inside were confidential files and several devices. He said, "Today I'll show you the things I monitor very carefully myself." He turned on a screen and played some videos. For the first time, I saw recordings of meetings and interactions, secretly captured, but the most terrifying part were the names and codes I saw in them. I immediately understood. This wasn't office work at all. It was something far beyond. I whispered, "Why all this?" Michael replied, "Because this is a mission that only a very select few know about, and now you are one of them." He told me that for the next step, we would have to go outside, and it wouldn't just be observation anymore. We would have to act. I felt fear, but excitement too. I told myself, "Li Mei, there's no turning back. You must do this, no matter what." We got into a car. Michael quietly said, "The place we're going has very tight security. You'll need to be careful." I felt as if I had stepped into a spy movie. When we reached the building, I immediately sensed something unusual. The door was locked, but I saw microphones and surveillance cameras all around. Michael whispered, "See, this isn't some normal project. We'll have to move in stealth mode." We carefully entered. Inside was a narrow corridor lined with files and computers. Suddenly, there was a sound. Someone opened the door. I hid quickly in the shadows. A man walked inside. His face was partially lit. I stared closely, and my breath stopped. It was the same man I had seen last night. Michael whispered softly, "Now you must observe. No one should know you're here." I quietly looked at the file. Inside were some codes and messages. They stated that sensitive information might be leaked, and it would require extremely careful planning to prevent it. I understood then. Michael's mission wasn't just about data. It was also about protection and observation. I told myself, "Li Mei, now is not the time to be afraid. You must pay attention to every detail." I noted every movement, every shadow, every whisper. Then, a hidden door creaked open. Behind it was a room filled with confidential documents and devices. Michael said, "You have to see this. This is the first step to understanding the full truth." I slowly began scanning the documents. Some files looked like business records, but others were personal and political. And then I saw it. A file that read, "Li Mei's involvement is necessary." I froze. That was my name. It meant I wasn't just an observer anymore. I was being considered a participant. Michael noticed my eyes widen. He said, "Now you have to decide for yourself. Are you ready for this?" I told myself, Li Mei, there's no way back now. You must see this mission through. Just then, another shadow appeared in the corridor. Someone was watching us. Michael quickly said, "Stay hidden, I'll handle this." I watched from concealment. The shadow checked a few devices, examined some files, and then left. I realized then, this mission wasn't only confidential, it carried personal risk. When we stepped outside, Michael said, "Li Mei, you must be ready for the next step. This mission is not just about the office, it is tied to some of the world's biggest secrets." And at that very moment, my phone vibrated, a message from an unknown number. "You're getting very close. The next step. Tomorrow night, no mistakes allowed." My breath caught. I knew now. My curiosity had become not just a mystery, but survival. Night. The whole world was asleep, but I was wide awake. Tonight wasn't an ordinary night. Tonight would bring the biggest turning point of my life. I prepared myself carefully, slowly. Michael had already given me instructions. This wasn't just observation anymore. Now, we had to act. When we reached the building, my steps faltered. Every shadow, every sound made my heartbeat race. Michael whispered, "Li Mei, no mistakes tonight. Be careful." I nodded. Inside me, fear and excitement battled each other. We carefully entered. The corridor lights flickered. I recorded every sound in my mind. Then I noticed someone adjusting a camera. But this wasn't a normal technician. His movements, his speed, his focus. Everything was like that of a trained professional. Michael told me to stay in the shadows and observe. Slowly, I scanned through the files and documents. And then I noticed something shocking. Some of the documents had my personal involvement written into them. I froze. It meant this mission wasn't just about observation anymore. It was connected to the decisions of my own life. Michael said, "Now you must go into that hidden room. Inside is everything you need for the next step." I slowly opened the hidden door. Inside were confidential documents and strange devices. And then I saw an envelope. On it was written, "Li Mei, only you can understand this." I opened the envelope. Inside were codes, maps, and several handwritten notes. Some were personal. Others were highly secretive. I understood then this mission wasn't just about the office. It was tied to global control and secrecy on a much larger scale. Then my eyes caught a photograph. In it, Michael and I were seen examining some documents, but in the background stood an unknown, shadowy figure. I immediately alerted Michael. He whispered, "Stay safe. That's the man we've been tracking." I told myself, "Li Mei, there's no way back now. You are fully part of this mission." I began noting every document, every file, every code. I realized my curiosity had turned into something greater, a responsibility. Then I noticed a small device. It wasn't just for data collection, it was a tool for tracking and securing information. Michael said, "Li Mei, you must activate this. This is the next step." I activated the device. And just then, my phone vibrated. Another message from an unknown number. "You are very close now. The next step begins immediately. Be careful." Suddenly, I saw movement in the corridor. Someone was there. From his speed, his focus, his movements, I instantly knew he wasn't an ordinary employee. He was a highly trained operative. Michael whispered, "Hide, I'll handle this." I pressed myself into the shadows and watched. The man checked some devices, examined the documents, and then left. I was frozen. This meant the mission was no longer just about observation. It carried personal risk as well. Michael guided me. Together we entered a few confidential rooms and began collecting data. Then I saw it. Some files with the words, "Li Mei's involvement is necessary." I told myself, "Li Mei, you cannot be afraid now. You must solve this mystery." And then I saw a video message. On the screen, a masked person spoke. "Li Mei, you've come very close, but this is only the beginning. The next step will take you straight into danger. Be prepared." I froze again. This meant that everything happening wasn't just about the office. It was tied to a much larger scale of control, secrecy, and personal stakes. I whispered to myself, "Li Mei, there's no easy way back now. You must finish this mission." I looked at Michael. His eyes carried both calmness and seriousness. "Are you ready now?" he whispered. I nodded. My curiosity was no longer just about mystery. It had become survival and responsibility. As soon as we stepped outside, a new message arrived from an unknown number. "The next step, tomorrow morning. Be ready. There can be no mistakes now." My breath stopped. This meant the mission had become more than observation. It was now about personal risk and survival. I told myself, "Li Mei, soon you will know the full truth, but it means there is no turning back anymore." The next morning arrived, but sleep had still not touched my eyes. My heart raced. Every moment I felt as if someone was watching my every move. What happened last night had only been the beginning. Now I knew. The mission was not just about office work. It was tied to my survival and my decisions. I dressed quickly and reached the meeting point with Michael. Today's plan was more critical. One mistake, one careless move could destroy our entire strategy. Michael gave me a faint smile, but the seriousness in his eyes was unmistakable. "Li Mei," he said softly, "today's step is difficult. Stay sharp." I nodded. Our first location was the office rooftop for surveillance. The tension in the air was palpable. Every shadow, every sound filled me with both fear and curiosity. Michael set up the devices. We installed cameras, trackers, and communication tools. "Now you have to handle this," he said. I activated the device, and the surveillance feed appeared on the screen. Within minutes, I spotted unusual activity. A shadow moving in ways only a trained professional could. My body froze. Michael whispered, "Hide. That's the man we've been tracking." I held my breath. This meant the mission was no longer just observation. It had become direct confrontation. The shadow picked up a device and began to manipulate it. Michael said, "Li Mei, now you must intervene. Slowly, carefully." I stepped forward and deactivated the device. The shadow immediately noticed me. His eyes widened. I told myself, "Li Mei, there's no turning back now. You must take control." The shadow whispered, How are you here?" I shook my head and whispered back, "Observation." But suspicion was clear in his eyes. Michael quickly intervened and managed the situation. Watching closely, I realized this man was no ordinary employee. He was highly trained and strategic. After handling the shadow, I turned to the documents. Among them, I found files that said again, "Li Mei's involvement is crucial." I froze once more. This wasn't just about observation anymore. It was about my life, my decisions, my involvement. Michael said, "Now you must decide for yourself. How far are you willing to go in this mission?" I whispered to myself, "Li Mei, there's no easy retreat now. You must move forward." I carefully noted every file, every code, every message. I realized my curiosity was no longer just about solving a mystery. It had become responsibility and survival. Then I discovered a hidden folder. Inside were personal messages and secret files. They revealed that certain people had been planning my involvement all along. I told Michael. He said, "Li Mei, now you must understand. This mission is not just about the office. It is connected to a larger scale of control, secrecy, and personal stakes." As we tried to move forward, there was sudden movement in the corridor. The shadow observer was there again. His speed, his focus, it was clear. He wasn't a normal employee. He was a spy, highly trained. Michael whispered, Li Mei, hide, I'll handle this. From the shadows, I watched. He checked some devices, examined documents, then left. I felt it clearly now. The mission was no longer just observation. It had become personal risk and real danger. Then, I found a personal letter. It read, Li Mei, you must complete this mission. It is not just office work. Your decisions and actions will affect the entire plan. I froze. Finally, I understood. This mission was not only a professional challenge, it was tied directly to my personal life and my choices. I told myself, Li Mei, you cannot be afraid now. You must handle this completely. Michael guided me on how to use the hidden devices, documents, and surveillance tools. Li Mei, now you don't just have to observe, you must act, he said. I slowly activated each device and began the surveillance. Suddenly, an alert flashed. A message from an unknown number. You've come very close. The next step begins now. Be careful. My breath stopped. This was no longer just observation. It had become personal risk and survival. As we stepped outside, the city lights shimmered from the rooftop. Michael whispered, Li Mei, now you must be ready. In the next step, you'll face the truth. Nothing will be predictable. And then another message arrived on my phone. Li Mei, you are very close to the truth now. Tomorrow night, everything will be revealed. There can be no mistakes. I told myself, Li Mei, there's no turning back now. Tomorrow night, the truth will come out. The tension of last night still lingered in my mind. A storm of questions kept circling. Who was that shadow observer? Why were there so many secret files about me? And most importantly, where was this mission leading me? Michael tried to calm me, but I knew there was no way back. I woke up early and prepared everything in my room. Laptop, devices, cameras, surveillance tools. Everything was ready. Michael sent a message. Li Mei, today's step is critical. You must observe and record everything, no mistakes. I nodded to myself. Today, I didn't just have to observe, I had to act. When we reached the office, I felt unusual activity in the air. Corridor lights flickered, shadows moved, footsteps and whispers heightened my alertness. Michael whispered, Li Mei, you must enter this room. This is where the next clue is. I slowly walked toward the room. The moment I opened the door, I froze. Inside were documents, files, and handwritten notes, but the most shocking thing was a large folder labeled, Li Mei, now you must face the truth. I opened the folder and carefully studied each document. They contained secret plans, surveillance records, and personal files. And then it struck me. This mission wasn't just about the office. It was tied to my personal decisions, choices, and relationships. I whispered to myself, Li Mei, don't be afraid now. You must know the truth. As I read further, a sudden realization hit me. Some documents revealed that even my own past was part of this mission. I froze. That meant my life, my choices, were directly affecting this mission. Michael looked at me and said, Li Mei, now you must understand, this is not just observation. This is the testing of your personal truth. At that moment, I noticed movement in the corridor. The shadow observer was back. This time, he targeted my movements directly. Michael whispered, hide. He's highly trained. Don't confront him yet. I hid in the shadows and observed him. His speed, his focus, his strategy, it was clear. He wasn't a normal employee. He was an experienced operative. Now I understood this mission wasn't just about observation. It demanded active involvement. Why? I told myself, Li Mei, you must act now. There is no way back. I activated the devices and resumed surveillance. Soon, I saw the shadow operative picking up critical files. I made my decision. I had to follow him. My heartbeat quickened. With every step, suspense and risk grew heavier. Following the operative, we reached a hidden office. The door creaked open, and I froze. Inside stood the very person who had been secretly observing both my past and present. He spoke softly. "Li Mei, now you must know everything. This mission is not just about the office. It is tied to your personal truth and responsibility." I asked slowly, "Who are you and why all this?" He removed his mask, and I froze in shock. It was someone I never expected. I told myself, "Li Mei, this is no time for fear, and you must face this truth." I began analyzing the documents and files carefully. Every note, every message, every video record revealed new secrets. And then I realized the mission wasn't about the office or observation at all. It was connected to a larger conspiracy and personal stakes. As soon as I grasped the truth, a sudden alert flashed. Another message from the unknown number. "Li Mei, you are very close to the truth. In the next step, everything will be revealed. There can be no mistakes." I felt it clearly. The next step would bring danger, risk, and suspense greater than ever before. I whispered to myself, "Li Mei, retreat is no longer possible. You must face both the truth and the mystery." As I stepped out of the room, the city lights flickered across the rooftop skyline. Michael whispered, "Li Mei, now you must be ready. Tomorrow night, the truth will come out. Your decisions and actions will shape the entire plan." And just then, a new message flashed on my phone. "Li Mei, tomorrow night, the truth will be revealed. Be ready. There can be no mistakes now." My heartbeat quickened. I whispered to myself, "Li Mei, there's no turning back now. The next step will uncover every secret." The tension and suspense of tomorrow night loomed over me. Every step, every decision, every choice was no longer just part of an observation or a mission. It had become the most critical moment of my life. I knew today could change everything. I had no choice. I had to face the truth. I woke up early, my hands trembling. Laptop, surveillance devices, and secret folders, all meticulously arranged. Michael sent me a message. "Li Mei, today is the final step. You will face the truth. There can be no mistakes." I nodded. Today, I couldn't just observe. I had to act. As soon as I entered the office, I felt the atmosphere shift. The corridors were silent. Lights flickered. Shadows shifted, footsteps whispered. It all heightened my alertness. Michael whispered, "Li Mei, you must enter that room. That's where the truth lies." Step by step, I moved toward the room. As I opened the door, a sudden flash struck my eyes. Inside were secret devices, documents, and handwritten notes. But the most shocking sight was a large folder marked with bold words. "Li Mei, you are closer to the truth than ever before." I opened it and began to read. Hidden surveillance records, secret plans, personal files. Page after page revealed more. I realized this mission wasn't just about the office. It was tied to my personal decisions, my past choices. I told myself, "Li Mei, this is no time for fear. You must uncover the truth." As I examined the records, a chilling realization struck me. The shadow operative and the hidden files weren't just about the mission. They were designed to test my life, my loyalty. I was not merely an observer. I was a pivotal player. Michael's voice broke through, low and steady. "Li Mei, you must understand. This mission is not about surveillance. It's a test of personal truth and responsibility." Suddenly, movement in the corridor. The shadow operative was there again. His speed, his focus, it froze me in place. Michael whispered, "Li Mei, confrontation is now unavoidable. You must remain calm, strategic." I activated the devices, tracking his movements. And then I saw him moving directly toward me. It was clear. Observation was no longer enough. I had to act. I told myself, Li Mei, no fear. Trust your instincts. Trust your intelligence. I followed the shadow operative. Every step was steeped in suspense and risk. One wrong move, and the mission would collapse. He led me to a hidden office. The door creaked open, and I froze. Inside, the figure who had been secretly observing both my past and present. He removed his mask, and shock washed over me. It was someone I never expected. He spoke softly. Li Mei, you must know everything now. This mission is not just about the office. It is about your personal truth and responsibility. I whispered, Who are you? Why all this? He replied, I am part of your past, part of your choices. Your actions and decisions shape the direction of this mission. Now, the truth has come. I breathed deep, steadying myself. Li Mei, this is no time for fear. You must face the truth. I analyzed the documents, the files, the secret recordings. Every note, every message, every video revealed new secrets. And then I understood. This mission was never just about an office or observation. It was tied to a larger conspiracy, to personal stakes, to survival itself. I confronted the shadow operative. Why were you observing me? I asked. He answered, Your choices, your actions, your instincts, they were critical. We needed to see if you were intelligent enough, courageous enough. Now you must make the final decision. I realized it wasn't just a mission. It was a test of my personal strength, my integrity. There was only one path left: accept the truth and act. I whispered to myself, Li Mei, there is no turning back. Trust your instincts. Trust your intelligence. I followed the shadow operative's instructions. Every step was heavy with suspense, risk, personal stakes. The documents, hidden files, and secret recordings revealed the bigger picture. This mission was part of a vast organizational conspiracy with global consequences. And now I knew the success or failure of everything rested on my choices, my actions. The shadow operative leaned closer, whispering, Li Mei, you must decide. Will this mission succeed or will it fail? You are pivotal. As we stepped onto the rooftop, the city lights shimmered below. My heartbeat thundered in my chest. Michael whispered, Li Mei, you must make the ultimate decision now. Tomorrow night, the truth will be revealed. There can be no mistakes. And just then, a new message lit up my phone. Li Mei, tomorrow night everything will come out. Be ready. There is no turning back. A mixture of suspense, fear, and curiosity surged inside me. I told myself, Li Mei, there's no way back now. The next step will uncover every secret, every truth. All that I had seen and felt through the last 9 chapters was converging before me. Every decision, every choice, every step had brought me here. And I knew the time for the final confrontation, for the ultimate truth, had come. Every heartbeat, every breath was charged with suspense and anticipation. I knew this night would be the most critical moment of my life. The silence of night, the flicker of city lights, they sharpened my senses. I stood on the rooftop, laptop and surveillance tools laid out before me. Michael whispered calmly, Li Mei, you must take the ultimate decision. This is not just a mission, it is a test of personal responsibility. I nodded slowly. There was no way back. And then, the shadow operative appeared. His presence was so intimidating my pulse raced, but I forced myself to stay in control. Li Mei, he said, the truth will be revealed now. You must decide what matters more, the mission or the truth. I asked quietly, Who are you? And why all this? He removed his mask. I froze. It was someone I had never expected, someone tied directly to my past, my present, and my personal choices. I told myself, Li Mei, this is no time for fear. You must show courage. intelligence. Before me lay every file, every note, every recording. Evidence, clues, hidden messages. They revealed the mission was not just about the office or surveillance. It was about personal stakes, organizational secrets, and a global conspiracy. The shadow operative whispered, "Li Mei, you must understand. This mission was never only for you. It was designed for the safety of the entire organization and the world. Your actions determine the outcome." A cold realization struck me. My past decisions, my choices, even my mistakes had all been part of this mission. "Li Mei, you cannot just observe, you must act." I steeled myself. Every interaction with the shadow operative was charged with suspense. Every move, every decision was critical. "I want to know," I said firmly. I want the full truth. No more lies." I trusted my instincts. I trusted my intelligence. I analyzed every file, every recording, every clue, until at last I shaped my strategy. The shadow operative watched me closely and whispered, "Li Mei, now you must choose. Will the mission succeed or will it fail?" I answered in a low, steady voice, "I choose truth. I choose responsibility. I choose courage. I will see this mission succeed, no matter the personal cost." Suddenly, movement on the rooftop. An unknown figure confronted the shadow operative. It was an ally I had once trusted, though I had never fully understood his role in the plan. He whispered, "Li Mei, your decision is the right one. The truths are safe now, but vigilance is always necessary." I watched as the layers of conspiracy began to unravel. And then it struck me. The mission had not only been professional, it had been about my personal growth, my courage. The shadow operative lowered his head with respect. "Li Mei, you acted, you showed courage, you proved your intelligence. Now the truth and safety are secure." I told myself, "Li Mei, there is no more fear. Your choices have changed everything." From the rooftop, the city lights shimmered below. Every light was a symbol for hope, for courage, for determination. I realized then, truth and courage always walk together. The mission, the shadow operative, the secrets, the stakes, they were resolved. I whispered to myself, "Li Mei, now you understand. Facing the truth may be terrifying, but with courage and intelligence, it can be overcome. You didn't just complete the mission, you discovered yourself." Every file, every recording, every secret had become part of me. I had realized personal choices, responsibility, and courage are what matter most in life. I am Li Mei. I've completed the most difficult mission of my life, Farmas. I faced the truth, used courage and intelligence, and endured the personal stakes. Now I am ready for new challenges, new missions, and a new life. Because one thing is clear when you trust your instincts and your intelligence, no mission is ever impossible.